Morning all. I mess around with the iPad again. You know what it's like? We have to mess around with the iPad for Karen, because Karen's here. So let me just do that. Your channel. Come up there. I can read the iPad. I'm looking down. iPad. A few. Morning, Leroy. Morning, Mike. You. Michael. Chris. Morning. Lawrence. Good morning. Barry. Good morning. Morning, Pete. Evening, Bob. Morning, Malcolm. Hello, Stuart. How are you? I hope you're feeling better. Morning, Barry. Gerard, good morning. Woody Dude, how you doing? Dave Clark, morning. I think I've got everybody. Morning, David. Morning, Four Kings. Morning, Robert. Morning, James. Morning, Gerard. Hello, Timothy. Has that got every? Morning, Philip. Morning, Nigel. Morning, Paul. Morning, Mark. Morning, Trevor. Morning, Chris. Morning, Paul. Right, I think that's got everybody. I'll pass the iPad back to Karen. So I was looking down at the iPad. You know, Karen wanted the iPad, so in we go. I'll try and keep up with the comments. This is all new to me. We've gone over to a new set of cameras, new stream, new format, new this, new that. Wish it was as simple as turning a bit of wood. That's easy. Put a bit of wood on a lathe, turn it on, it spins, turn it on. Yeah, I'll do that in a minute. Turn it on, it spins round, get a tool in it. Don't jab it in, you know what I mean. Cut the wood and away you go. But I decided, after talking to Pat Carroll and Andrew Hall, to go for a different setup, and it's made me scratch my head a bit, but we've got there. I think this is test run 1. At the end of it, if you've got any comments about sound, vision and all the rest of it, let me know, because I've got to tweak it. I thought I was going to have some whizzy stuff going on, but the whizzy wizard wouldn't work, so I need more playing. But you can play forever and then not do anything, or you do something, and so we'll do something and see what it turns out like. We run up on camcorders now, 4K camcorders. You won't see that because we're 1920 1080 high def, but I don't know what it's going to look like, so we'll see. So morning Nick, morning Adrian, morning anybody that's dropped in that I've missed while I was waffling on. Quick cup of coffee out of the old Oliver's Woodturning mug. Bit cold now. Morning Jax. Morning Michael. Nice picture. Cheers Adrian. That's good to hear. It might go horribly wrong in a minute when I start pushing buttons. Ayo. Goes wrong, goes wrong. You'll have to talk among yourselves. The terrorist cat decided to come in. Just wowing. Wow, wow. Probably hear her in the background. Wow. Don't know what she wants. So, yeah, I've got me blue smock on, because this here is what's called a green screen. So this is green. and you project the image onto it, so Oliver's Woodturning logo's on it. I put my green smock on, clashes, doesn't it? I've got a bit of green, bit of trimming to do on the old green screen because I can just see a bit of a tinge, so I can mess around with lighting some more. I'm not going to do that now because that'll be messing around. So anyway, green smock on, didn't really work. There was a real clash. So rather than mess around with the settings, put the blue smock on.
There's a funny ping when you start talking.
Morning, Georgina. Right, we've got a funny ping when we start talking.
And you're behind. Your speech is behind the sound.
Is it? By what?
Yeah.
Hold on. Let's just do this.
I wanted to get up.
Check that out. Is that any better? Do a clap test.
I've lost you. You're not there.
Yes, I am. Come back. There's a delay. Should be coming. There's a clap test. How far out's that? Karen's.
Yeah, it's a little while.
Is it? Right, let's adjust it the other way. Try that. She's pushed the button, everybody.
No, I haven't. I'm just trying to run the sound down.
So, better? Right. Morning, anybody I've missed coming in. We're messing around with sound now, fine adjustments and all that. So, is that better? 1, 2, 1, 2. Another clap. There's adjustments on audio and everything, and I know what she's doing. She's pushing buttons. You know what she's pushing. So, morning, Trevor. Morning, Colin. Morning, anybody I've missed. Morning, Lee. Still out.
Well, the clap is right.
Eh?
The clap is right. You'll just.
The clap's right. Well, that'll do. I've got to tweak it a bit more, and I've got to mess around with a couple more of the settings. I've been messing around with settings. I started at 12 o'clock yesterday and finished about 10 o'clock last night. I've been learning how to use the thing, so it just takes. Morning, Pat. Thank you. Glad it looks good. I'm told the speech is slightly out, so I've got to mess around with the mic setting a bit. But we can live with that because in a minute we're going to be on the wood, and then you won't see me talking, so it won't much matter. So good morning, everybody that's now turned up. We ought to get started, so we're going to switch over cameras, and we'll just do this on that one. If I push the right button, that's an overhead camera. That's Andy Harry. Andy Harry, stick it in the oven. So we've got here a wormy blank, load of wormholes in it. It was one that I cut a year ago, saw the worm in it. I thought, well, that'll go in my stock. So it's been microwaved. They've been blasted, so they should be well dead, the old worms. If you get worm in your blanks, you can microwave them. If you microwave them, don't microwave it and cook it. You give it short blasts, 30 seconds. You don't want the blank getting hot and drying the wood out. All you're doing is killing the worm. So the worm has turned. So it's an 11-inch blank Sycamore with worm, and I've got a centre finder on here. I'm just going to rough in the centre because hopefully I can turn it round. Out there. Now, it's 11 inches and 3 inches thick. So 11 inches, 3 inch thick. means I'm not just going to put it on a 50mm jaw set, and I wouldn't use a screw chuck. A lot of weight on a central pivot. So this sort of size, I start getting into using my little face plates. So I've got a face plate here, and my centre mark, all I'm going to do, forgot my glasses, is rough it in to where I think the centre is, about there. And just fit it with 5 little screws. Don't have to go too mad. So I just set them in there. I'm not doing that all the way up yet. I'll get a couple in and then I'll tighten them up in a minute. I don't want to move the faceplate more because that's where I think centre is, but we'll find out in a minute. I'll probably 1/2 inch out. I must learn to wear my glasses. Note to self, glasses. Obviously, well, not obviously, but a few of you will understand this. There's a lot going on as well as just the wood turning, because I'm not a camera expert. I am not an expert on any of this sort of stuff, so I've been making it up as I go along. I gotta say, the software, once you understand it, is relatively straightforward. Becomes a bit more problematical when you start programming buttons to do magical things, but hey-ho. It's been fun learning and frustrating. You do something and you think, oh, I cracked it, and you push a button and you find out you haven't cracked it at all. So there may have been a little bit of blue language along the way. Don't get blue language when you're wood turning, just messing around with computers and software. But hey, you'll see if I've advanced next week, if we've got whizzy stuff going on. So, bring my old tool rest up. So I'm cutting sort of on the centre, and for extra safety, just bring up my tailstock, lock it all down, and then turn the blank by hand. Not 1/2 inch out, fair way out. Note to self, bring glasses. Right, so we've centred up, we're turning round. Help if I turn the lathe on, haven't done that. Whip the lathe speed down. Now, we say this all the time, you should wear the face shield at the lathe. It's the safest thing to do. Polycarbonate impact resistant face shield. But when we're demonstrating, we've got to think about you being our ears on the microphone and all that sort of stuff. Now, if this was one of my ugly pieces of wood where anything could go wrong, I'd definitely have a face shield on, and you'd have to suffer not being able to hear my dulcet tones. But as this is a safe blank, in my opinion, I've got safety glasses on. All that might happen is we might get some low-flying worms, but they'll be dead. So I've turned the speed down, turn the lathe on, slowly advance the speed up, and just bring it up. Now, we're out of balance because we're not quite centre, so we'll bring it into balance. And I'm running at about 475 at the moment, so that'll give you an idea. So I'm going to stand to the left of the blank, tool back towards me, cutting edge forward, and I can slide the tool up the rest, just raise my handle, get a cut. It's going to bounce a little bit at the moment. So I've just got a reasonably firm grip. Try and stop the bounce. And then I'll just travel along the tool rest. Allowing the tool to cut the wood. Just keep enough pressure on the cutting edge so it advances as the wood in front of it is removed. What you're trying to do is just keep a nice continual flow of shavings. We'll stop that there. Bring the tool rest up closer to the work. Now we're getting a bit rounder. Lock her down. See where we're at. See it's well peppered here. You see that well peppered wormy casts everywhere. But they all seem to be in this edge, so we may be able to turn them away.
I want to know what you're going to make.
Alright, what we're going to do is just turn a bowl, bit of colour maybe, and a few techniques for turning. So we've got around, we should be in balance now. If I spin that around I can see, oh, I've got a little bit of wax, I'm not quite there. Let me just get rid of that and let's try this. This is another shot for you. You can't see much on that, can you? Looking at that, that's rubbish. That needs zooming out. Be alright when we go on the inside. We'll get rid of that one. We'll just stick to camera one at a minute. Right, so now we should be round. Got rid of me wax. No torn grain, so that's working fine. Now technically I should turn the outside shape this way and bring it round because I've got supporting fibres. I've got crack. But I like to travel this way. So I travel that way, and if your cutting is timely, what's happening there? Hold on. Sorry, I was looking at it and it looked like the... Do need glasses. Looked like the headstock was moving. It's all locked down. Optical illusion maybe. Right, forget me. So I'm just going to come round here and start bringing the shape into the bowl. The wrong way round. So I just rub the back of the bevel, lean the tool towards the lathe a little, and then I twist my body in. There.
Have you got a volume on your microphone?
Yeah, why?
Microphone wants to put the volume sound up.
Turn the volume up.
For Mr. Stratton.
1 2 1 2. How's that, Michael? Michael, I could have another suggestion. You put new batteries in your hearing aids. That might work. Right, so there, come round. Lean the body in, twist the body in. To the lathe like that. Now, we stop this. Technically, we should have torn grain everywhere. And we haven't. If I had, I think with rough grain, Sycamore's a real tight grain, so you can get away with murder. If it was a wily bit of elm, cutting this way might cause me 10 ton of problems, and I'd have to come that way. But if I do get a bit of torn grain coming this way, all I'm doing is roughing the shape at the moment. I can come back the other way and tidy it up in a minute. And this is peppered with worm. I hope they're all dead. I'm just twisting in, lifting my hand a little bit as I go. You can see the dust on the back of my hand here, and that's out of these worm casts. Look, it's peppered all the way through here with worm. Peppered all the way through there. Oh, that's nice looking blank. I'll get to turn all the good wood. Right, so we know if we've got a good cut going and a timely cut. Just going to drop that tool rest just a tad. A good cut and a timely cut if we keep a continual flow of shavings. So if I pick this cut up here, I'm not putting any real pressure on the tool, just following it around. And you can see how slow I'm moving, but I'm keeping a continual flow of shavings. I'm allowing the wood to come over the cutting edge and be cut. Not a race. Now what I haven't got in me smock here is a pencil. I've had a few conversations with people about bouncy surfaces and this, that and the other. So when I'm teaching, this is one of the things I do so people can understand the speed. So I've got pencil. So if I travel at the right speed, I'll shade that in. If I travel too quick for the wood, I create a spiral. So we aim to travel at the right speed for the wood. If I want to cut faster, then I'll go a bit faster. And then you see my pencil can move a bit faster. If I go too fast, I get lines again. So if we rub that out, might have to texture this bowl, get rid of the worm. So yeah, it's going to rub the pencil line out. All the time I'm twisting my right hip in towards the lathe in this direction. Oh, I don't know how that's a worm. Oh, I think that's a rat in there, size of it. I thought this might turn away. They're going in deeper than I think. So now if I turn my lathe on again, travelling at the right speed, I shade it in. Travelling too quick, I create this spiral line. I think you can see that. Let's zoom that in a little bit. Oh look, now you can see me wormhole. See what I'm dealing with here? Worm casts everywhere.
I want to know if that's what the chatter is on the top.
There might be a bit of bounce on these worm holes, but not a lot. And there's me big hole just there. Can you see it? I reckon there's a rat in there. It's so big. I should have sold this blank to someone as pre-textured. I failed. So that's what we're aiming to do, is when we travel the tool, we're aiming to travel it so we're shading the wood in. That gives the wood time to cut. Now I can rip it away a bit. A little bit of full. And I can cut the wood away. The dust is going everywhere. Look at this. I might have breakfast in a minute. Worm for breakfast. Lovely. Maybe I need a face shield on. Come round here. We'll cut round. Taking a bit deeper cut here.
You need to zoom back out.
Huh?
You need to zoom back out.
Oh, did I stay zoomed in? Let's zoom back out. There we go. I was taking a deeper cut there. You couldn't see that. I want to build up a bit of wood for me mounting at the base. Be somewhere around there. And I'll just do another little cut in here. A little bit of bounce there. Now we're going to have worm casts everywhere. Okay, so what I'm going to do now is bring a bit in so I can make a spigot, tenon, whatever you want to call it. Lock my tool rest off now, kick my shavings out of the way. I just vacuumed this morning, keep it clean and tidy. Unbelievable. So I'm just going to come in. Roughly to where my socket's going to be. I'm guessing somewhere around there. Two camera setup probably work now. Will we go camera 2? Just getting this in about here. Now we'll bring this in somewhere there. Check that. Right, I've got a solid bit of timber. I've got a lot of worm cast underneath here, but I've got a solid bit of timber to make me spigot on, so that's good. And now I'm just going to bring this around a bit. Put a foot. A foot will be somewhere around there. Now bring the tool rest, bring tool rest back round. Yeah. Got to think of what we're going to do with these worms. And that tool rest is just a tad high. Bring that down. Bring that round out. Compromise on the tool rest. All locked off. There. I'm just going to come round and pick this up here. And what I did there was, as I come round, I came round here, and as I got to this point, I twisted away from the lathe, like this, to make a little scallop on the foot. So we'll come back to the overhead. We'll do that again. We're going to pick up the cut just here. Follow this curve round. And now I start twisting back the other way. There. And we've made our curve flow into our foot. Nice little worm pattern there. I wonder what we can do with that.
Hole on your tool rest.
Have I got a little hole on my tool rest at the back?
What's it for?
I haven't got a clue.
It's a lot of dust. Do you want to put your structure on?
Don't know what that's for. Haven't got a clue. Hold on. Nah. You would think might be a screw in there securing the tool post. Can't see anything. No, haven't got a clue. Not the filliest foggiest why there's a little hole in there. If anybody knows why there's a little hole in the back of the tool rest, please put it in a comment. I'll read it later because I don't know.
Put your pencils in.
Put your pencil in. You could have it as a tool holder for mini tools. Right, so we've got our curve coming round here, and we've got this sort of flat area here. Now we can carry on bringing it back to make our curve flow all around, or we can take a bit of this off. And
Paul says it's part of machinery in the post.
Part of the machinery of the post, they are. Always got someone with great amount of knowledge. And Paul's our man. He's our technical man. So I'm looking at this now, and I've turned the wrong way, so I'm entitled to have ripped out grain here everywhere, but I haven't. All I've got is loads of worm casts. In we go. There, and you can see me little wormies. Look at them. There's a crack there. Nasty. But loads of little worm casts through there. Let's bring that back out. This is a nice blank full of cracks and worm casts. So we could texture this. I'll get to hide the worms realistically. I'm just putting a bit of air in them. I was having a good time in here. Just cleared some of the dust out of them. They're quite deep, some of these, so we've got a natural textured bowl outside. So we could just leave it as a wormy bowl, or you could get lost the word. A rotary tool, and just come in here and you could embellish it and put more in, make a feature of it on the outside, but we're not going to do that. We've turned the outside, so now we're going to put our spigot into the end there. So my jaws for this are 42mm, I go to about 46mm. Left hand point scribes the line. You can't see that, can you? Left hand point scribes the line. Right hand point just lines up with it and you know that you're there. And I'm literally 2mm off, 3mm off. So I'm just going to come over the top, line it up, about there. And there's my spigot line. Always important when you're doing this that this shoulder is nice and square, so the jaws sit up tight, and this is nice and clean in there. So I'll just bring the tool round, and my favoured method is just to use the skew as a negative rake scraper. So I've got my little skew here. I'm just going to come in down to my line, about there. Now just going to make sure this bottom's flat. There. I might as well flatten off the rest of it actually. just flatten this, come off at a different angle to flatten this spigot, tenon, whatever you want to call it, down. Because it's too steep an angle for my jaws as it is there. So just flatten it down. There. Now what I want to do is get a straight edge. And make sure I'm flat across the bottom. I had loads of bits laid down there, so I didn't mess around. So where it's important, let's come back. One. We can zoom it in a bit. You should see it. In that way. Now, the camera's shielding it. It needs to be over that way a bit, and there's a monitor in the way there. But that's nice and flat, so the jaws are going to sit flat. Now I've got a problem. Because I've cut this about 8-9 mil thick. And the problem I've got is my jaws on this chuck. There's a second set of teeth in the jaws that come at around 8 mils, something like that. So they're going to come about here. And you see my pencil line on there? No. Let's zoom it out a bit. You don't see me pencil line there either. But they were coming around here. Now if I go and put this tenon into the chuck, what happens is the teeth will pick up. They're too near the edge and they'll break away, which will push the bow out of kilter. So I've got to shallow down this tenon to suit the jaws, or I have to make the tenon deeper so I've got enough meat beyond the jaws. So I'm going to go for just bringing this down a tad. There. Somewhere there. So if I stop that, I've got a bit of torn grain come up there where I've forced the skew in, so I can just pick up a cut very lightly. It's bouncing. Just bouncing. So I'm just going to come in here. Yeah, I'm just going to stop there. So I've got something for my jaws to sit along. Oh, it's this wormy thing here. Got a little ring there. I can tidy this up at the end, of course. And I reverse the bowl round. That's fine. So, there's our 8-side shape. Turned the wrong way, but good enough. If it was torn, so it was a problem, what I could do is then just come back this way with a shear cut like this. Just off the wing of the tool. And just adjust myself around, move the tool rest even, and bring back a shear cut, or I could use a scraper. But the advantage of having a long wing on your tool, you can just do it with the tool. So I can just come round here very lightly and brush this away. I'll just bring it round. Yes, very light cuts this is. Almost brushing the wood. And I could come round like that. And then that would tidy it up. If I needed to. So, there's the outside. Complete with worm casts. Bring this around. Now all I've got to do with my faceplate is turn the key the right way around, and now I'll mount onto this tenon, and I'll pinch it up so that the jaws are on it, and then a quarter of a turn is enough. That's on there, nice and sound. Turn the speed down. Turn it on. Now I've left the faceplate on. I've left the faceplate on for a reason. Let's come back to camera there. I've left the faceplate on for a reason. If I've got this tenon wrong and we're out, I can just whip it back round and do a bit of fine adjustment. But because I'm also doing it for the first time, I've turned the speed down to nothing. Turn it on. Slowly advance the speed. And let it turn. Now I'm not worried what this edge looks like, because we've done nothing with this yet. It's here. And I've got no bounce there. It looks like it's running absolutely true. La voila. So, remember to put the drill in reverse, because I want to undo the screws. I'm quite good at going full in, not having it on a torque setting. I'm wondering why I need to take my arm off. Let's get rid of that. Get rid of that. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Get rid of that one. Put that down there. Get rid of the faceplate. Okay. Get rid of the drill. Okay. Okay. Get rid of the elbow stabber. Okay. Now, let's see if we can zoom that one out a bit. Might come on the camera too here. Let's do that. Come on to there. So we just bring our tool rest up so we'll cut across on centre. I think we might be just a tad low there. Bring that up. That there somewhere. Turn the speed up a little bit. And just travelling along the tool rest here. My tool rest, you see, is low. Gone underneath there. I thought to myself, oh no, I've got worms in the front as well. There's screw holes. I didn't want worm holes there. So my tool rest was low. So now I've adjusted it. I'll come through, and I'm coming through on centre now. So there. Red stop. I still haven't learned. Red stop. So what I'm going to do, I'm not going to worry about the cracks and that in this. This will become a bit of firewood. I'm just going to come back and square this edge up. You wondered why I left it, didn't you? Just very light cut. Along there. So now I've got a square edge, and I'm just going to come in here, get rid of that bit of torn grain, because I came off that way. If I'd gone that way, I wouldn't have torn the edge. That's just on the tool rest, made me jump. I just want to make something into about there. So I've squared this corner up. And it's quite sharp, so we'll dab a bit of sandpaper on that in a bit. So now we're going to come into the middle of the bowl and start hollowing it out. So I'm coming here. And what I'm going to do, if we come back to the... can't see me buttons. Overhead camera, I'm going to come in with the back of the bevel there. I'm going to lean forward. You're missing the tip of this because that camera is just in the wrong place. Can't do a lot about that. Is it better on 2? I'm coming in with the bevel there. I'm just going to lean forward, and as I lean forward, the tip will start scribing a line. As soon as it starts scribing a line, I stop, rotate the tool anti-clockwise a bit, pick up the cutting edge, and then I can go forward and start hollowing my bowl. So it's a bit like this, back of the bevel towards the lathe, score a line, little twist, hollow my bowl. That noise you can hear is because I'm pushing too hard. And my tool rest is a bit low, so I'm having to drop my handle down to make sure I come through on centre. And then that creates us a little problem, because then we get a little rise in the middle of our bowl, which we don't want. So let's get the tool rest at the right height. That looks like it. Lock it down, turn it on, a little bit more speed. So now back, forward, twist. And that vibration is me pushing too hard. So I've got to lay off the pressure and sort of creep up on the centre. Doesn't much matter at the moment, we're just going to remove a bit of wood. What I've got to be careful of these days is flying bits of timber. Before, with me little webcams, they were like 100 quid each, still a lot of money, and small. So when the timber flew off the lathe, there was a small target, so the wood normally missed them, and if it did hit them, they weren't like a fortune. These camcorders cost a bit of money, so I don't want to hit them with a low flying object. So I've spent my pocket money for the whole year. So we just slide in, slide in, slide in, slide in. There. Back. just swap gouge. Now see, I think the edge on that gouge was just getting a little dull. Not a lot. And if I'm travelling at the right speed, I get a continual flow of shavings as I'm doing the inside of a bowl.
What's the benefit of starting at the centre of a bowl and working out over starting at the edge and working in?
If you start in the centre of a bowl and work backwards, in theory, you're supporting the grain and you get no torn grain. If you come outwards, you've got a couple of problems. If you've got a long handle, your tailstock's in the way unless you rotate the head. And secondly, you're cutting back uphill, so your fibres are not supported, so you've got more chance of getting torn grain. Going in like this was the way I was taught. It gives a real good finish, and I just carry on. When I go in, I follow the bevel round to my curve. Now my bowl gouges are ground at 40 degrees. A lot of people have problems when they're coming in that they're out of shape, so they've got the heel rubbing. So what they do, I ain't got a felt pen here, but if I bring this up to the camera, what you do is you grind away the heel, this bit here. Oh, lift it up, Oliver. Grind away the heel, that bit there, so you get a secondary bevel. And then that way, when you come round, the heel's not rubbing against the wood. It depends on your angle of approach and the amount of pressure you're using, but you can come round without doing it. That's why I've been taught, that's why I do it. But if you do get a problem, grind away the heel and follow it round, then the heel's not pushing you off and pushing your cutter off. If the heel pushes your cutter off, what happens, to try and get your cut, you just give the tool a little bit and then you just cause heat and get all sorts of marks in the bottom of the bowl, which you've then got to tidy up. So now this time I rolled my wrist over a bit further, so I'm using the wing of the tool to remove a bit of wood. And you can hear it because I'm just trying to get some wood away. So I come into here just gently, there. Now I could just bring it back to here, lean forward a bit, pick up the cut wherever I want. Guide her in. Yeah. There's another little trick you can use, and you can practice this here. When you get to this point, if you roll your tool right up, let's go, you won't see it on the overhead because the camera needs to be that way a bit. If you roll your tool right up, let's see if I can zoom in there a little bit. Roll your tool right up. You could get the back wing under that peg and just cut it out. And your pit then shoots up your flute and you shouldn't tear out the last bit. Now you can see, you can't see, my hands are away from my body. Let's come out a little bit. My hands are away from my body now, but all I do is hold my shoulders square. I could make a ballroom dancer. My shoulders square, and it's still my body. What I'm doing is twisting my right hip away from the lathe, to get my curve. And then as I come into centre here, I can come in. Got a little pit, roll my flute over, undercut it, and just cut it off. I'm going to lose me cut here. Back there, I brought my arm back quicker. And the reason I lost me cut was purposely. Because I was looking at the curve of my bowl and it wasn't quite flowing right for what I could see. I'm looking over here, look this side when I'm cutting. And I'm thinking, no, that curve could be a bit better than that. So I just brought my arm back a little bit quicker on the cut. Too much pressure. I'll show you a pressure mark in a minute. Into there. Now I'll just push the middle out there so I've got a little mark. I've got a couple of pressure marks just on the rim there. Let's come in. You see them? A couple of little pressure marks. I was pushing too hard, clearing wood, but I can tidy them up quite easily. What I can do is just get my bowl gouge. Now what will happen is with a lot of people, when you get these marks, they'll push the bowl gouge harder because it's going to try and bounce off of that mark in the wood. So as we hit that, these razors are going to try and push the bevel away. So you think, oh, I've got to hold it on there. So you push harder. And when you push harder and lock up and push harder, all that happens is those marks bounce you off even harder and you cause more heat on the bevel and they get progressively worse. So if I come in here and just lightly pick up a cut and almost float the bevel around the curve, can you hear the difference? And I'll just stop it there. And now my pressure marks have gone. I'll bring that in. There's a couple of bruise marks in there from it. That way. There's a couple of little bruise marks in there, but my pressure lines are gone. And with a couple of passes, that'll disappear. There's a couple of marks on the rim, but we're not worried about them at the moment because we're going to sort the rim out afterwards. So then I can just take a very light cut. Tailstock's in the way. Normally I bring the headstock out. Short handle, that'll be the answer. Just a short handle, just pick that cut up there. I mean, that tool's blunt. I never sharpened that tool. It's as blunt as you like. Let me just put an edge on the tool. That'll be the quick way. Otherwise, I'm moving the cameras. So that I can bring the headstock out. Let's try this. See if I still remember how to sharpen the tool. Oh, we're much better. Look at that. Now I don't want to break that corner off, pip off rather, so I just cut it away. So we've got a couple more cuts here. I've taken a lot of wood here. I'm taking big wide shavings there. I'm taking a lot of wood, bring it that way, to remove the bulk of the material. I could take loads and loads of fine cuts, loads of practice cuts, but I just wanted to get the wood away. There. I probably took 5-6 mil there. Just come in and do that. Now let's have a look where we're at. It's not going to be the finished bowl in the world, not after that. So that's now I can come in with a tidy cut. Hear the difference? Just nice and light. No pressure on my left-handed tool. Little bit of pressure on my right, but not a lot. Just enough to keep the cutting edge in contact with the wood. Little bit of tool chatter. Just a little bit of pressure on the handle. Now I'm just trying to get rid of the shavings so you can see what's going on. Little bit of tool chatter, so a little bit of pressure on the flute onto the tool rest. And in we go. So the sounds tell you a lot. So if you're hearing boom, you're going a bit heavy-handed. So I'm just going to pick this up now and just do another. Try and cut around. There. Now, every picture tells a story. There's a little line in there, and I've got a few little lines in here because there was noise coming through the end of the tool. So if I want a clean cut now, what I'll do is resharpen the tool just quickly. There's nothing there that wouldn't sand out with a bit of 40 grit or 20 grit, something like that. House brick, that'll do it. So we're just going to come round. Quick fresh edge on the tool. It won't blunt, but if you want to do a nice passing cut, make sure your tool's nice and sharp, or keep a backup one. And now I'm just going to come in, pick this cut up here. Got a bit of vibration coming through the tool. That sounds better there. Now the tool was trying to snatch down there a bit because I was light and my cutter was just a little high. Should have been more on centre. I'm just trying to remove. The finest amount of shavings. Roll my wrist a little bit as I go. Raise the handle, twist my body away, and now I've got a bit of bevel rub there that I don't really want. Float that off. Pick that up into there, get rid of that bird's nest. So look what we're dealing with. Right, so we're smooth there, a couple of little bounce lines in the bottom, loads of worm casts in there. This was full of worm, this thing. So I'm just going to pick this up now. Into there, and that's got rid of them. Now if you can't control a gouge like that, what you can do is use a scraper. Now if I raise this up, you could, they're minor, you could sand them out. Now I'm just going to have to sharpen this scraper because the scraper's got to have a good edge on it to work. No messing about with a scraper. We just bring this round. Taking a tad longer because I've got to put the table on the pro edge. That's better. Karen's fallen asleep. She's got bored. Right. Quick edge on my scraper here. Who? What? These cameras are Panasonic V4K VCV something or the other, HC VX1s. I was trying to get some Canons. I was advised by Pat and Andrew to use some Canons. Do you think you can get them for love nor money? Of course you can't. Like everything today, you can't get what you want. So my scraper here, I'll bring this to this camera so you can see it, is a square grind. A lot of people now are using negative rakes, so you've got an angle here and an angle here. With a negative rake, you come in on centre, and as literally as it touches the wood, you're away. But on, let me see if I can just adjust. All works backwards and forwards here, doesn't it? So let me just trying to get a different shot for you, really, so you can see the scraper working. Let me come down there, round there. Oh, that works. Let's just lock that down there, nice and firm. Yeah, you should be able to see that now. So, could have done that earlier, couldn't I? So my tool rest now is just a bit too high. Wants to be just above centre or on the centre. because it's a thick old scraper. And what I'm going to do is come in with this scraper, but because I'm square grind, I'm just going to have to raise my handle a little bit to get the cutting edge on centre. So as I come in, there's no force here, just in little lift. Just work it backwards and forwards. Might lower that tool rest a little bit more. I'm just going to lower that tool rest a little bit more. Bit to right, somewhere there. Let's try that. You can still see this, I'm not in your way. I'm at totally the wrong angle there. I'm trying to do it so you can see what's going on. In little lift. I think I've gone too low. Oh, that's it. And I'm just rushing that backwards and I'm too low. There, that's better. And they're ultra fine shavings, almost floating up. And then that'll probably need touching in again. I didn't bring my diamond card over with me. And you could then just work backwards and forwards with a scraper and get these ultra fine dusty type shavings to tidy up the inside before you start sanding. If you had a negative rake scraper, as I say, you'd go in horizontal and just stay horizontal, no lifting the handle. So that's getting us roughly where we want to be. Now, let me bring this over to here. How are we doing for time? 1:15. Right, so turn that on. Let's just get rid of this bit. That clatter there is the worm cast. As I come through there, I just roll my wrist just a tad clockwise to make that flow through. I'm just going to get rid of this. I stopped midway to show you a scraper being used. Ideally you go round in one pass. I'm just checking the back to make sure I haven't come all the way through. Haven't really, I've got loads here. just gently through the centre, time the cut through, and then it's going to come through with the back wing. Let's get them out of the way. Come through with the back wing now. Very fine cut. Into the centre. Roll me wing up. Slice that pip off. There's me pip. See that? My little pip off. So, there's me bowl hollowed out.
Cat and Terry from Chestnut say the picture's good.
Woohoo! Okay, there's me bowl hollowed out. Picture's good, turning's rubbish. I got that in before you said anything, Carol. Right, so I'm just going to bring the extractor on and just quicksand, bash the camera. See that? This is trouble. I was trying to get the camera on the gantry and it wouldn't hold where I wanted it to hold. Now, due to the worm and everything, we're not going to mess around too much with this, but it wouldn't be right if we didn't add a bit of colour, like a little plan in my little head. Just going to quick sand this. I'm going to go mad. Start with me 20 grit. Got my extractor working. There. And there's your real sander. That'll do for one. This'll do for two. That'll do for it all. I'm just gonna, because we've got worm casts in the bottom, it's a bit of a waste of time, but it's just a different way of finishing your bowls. You just fan that off there. Bit of gesso.
Like I said, don't paint it green.
Eh?
Like I said, don't paint it green.
How do you make your bowl invisible? Paint it green and have a green screen. There we go. I should have saved that for later, shouldn't I? I just thought about it. I opened my mouth before I thought too far. So we've got a bit of black gesso. Just going to slap this on the inside. Not worried about the rim. Hopefully the gesso is going to go around into these little wormy casts. Hide them up. Smooth that out a bit. Lovely. Make sure I've got right up to the edge. See wormholes there, let's dab a bit of paint in them. That's it. Right, I think that's got them. Just plugging in Mrs. Oliver's hairdryer. I really must buy her a new one, you know, because I think she gets fed up with me keep using this. It's Mother's Day tomorrow, maybe her little soldier's bought her one. She's had this one 20 odd years. It's alright, on a Saturday I get up a lot earlier than her so I can nick her hairdryer before she's out of bed. So it's alright, it works. So I've just dried that out there. That'll do. Now, bit of spray. While I'm shaking this up, I'll turn the extractor off. Someone could invent a silent extractor, it'd be great. I know what you're going to say, put it outdoors. But... So this is the Glitter Effects Montana, and this one is, can't remember, it's a blue colour. Dusty, something, Cosmos. So what I'm going to do now is give the black a coat of Cosmos. Mind the camera. You think of so many things, don't you? Mind the lights, mind the camera. Now, if you're doing this realistically, I should have had me vent on. Stinks. I didn't have me vent on, so I'll get a choke. And now I'm going to just try and dry this off quickly. If I was doing something like this for real, I'd clean the dust away first, sand the inside properly, because it will show any mark, and then once it's dry, I put this glittery speck spray on. Now I'm only drying it off. We renewed Karen's life insurance last week. She's sitting over there, so when I was spraying, I sort of sprayed it in her direction. Only kidding. Right, so we're going to just get this, all I'm trying to do is get this dry enough so we can clean these two rims off. That'll do, donkey. So, done that. So now I'm going to tidy up the rim with a very, 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 very fine cut. Well, I hope I can produce a very, very... Something wrong there, isn't there? Look at that. Very, 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 very fine cut. It's vibrating all over the place. I don't know what's going on there. So I've got to tidy that up now. So I'm just going to come in with the wing. Obviously I could sand it, but I can just use the wing of my tool just to flatten that off. And then with a little beading tool, it'll be the right sort of size. Oh, that looks glycery and horrible in the camera, doesn't it?
Yeah, I think there's enough green in it to pick up on the green screen.
Right, so we'll get it to a camera in a minute. I'm just going to put a couple of beads in here. Just rolling the bead tool backwards and forwards, raising the handle as I go. Don't push too hard because I don't want to break the bead out or burn it. And then I'm going to come up next to it. This is where I need my glasses. Raise the handle as we go. Then come in next to it. Then come in next to that. Now if I'm lucky, I should just get one more in there. There. Now, let's see if we can come back to camera one. Is that still in focus? You will see these coming around. You won't see them being done. As we go side by side and try that. No, you're not going to see that. Let's zoom that out a bit. No, you're not really going to see that. Let's bring this round a bit, like Bernie the Bolt. No, right. So you'll see the effects in a minute. So now what I'm going to do is come in on the side. Knew that was going to come off. Come in next to that. And then one more, come in there. Just rolling backwards and forwards as I do this. Just trying to round. Now you've got to be careful when you're doing the side with a beading tool because you're dealing with end grain. It's quite easy to tear that out. Come back into there. Stop that there. there. Let's have a look. Don't look too sad. Right.
You might need to just put it on overhead rather than...
Yeah, well, you're going to go camera 1 overhead, get rid of the green screen. I'll take this out of here. Bring this over here. So you've got this lacquered effect. There's a mark in the middle of the bowl. See what you've got to sand it properly. You can see the mark in there. Should be able to see that. It's got to be sanded properly, but as I say, this is firewood. And then if I come in, you've got these beads on the edge and on the rim to give it an effect, obviously polished up. So instead of having a coloured rim bowl, still got our little wormy holes all there, little wormy holes. You've got a beaded rim bowl with a splash of colour in the middle. There, and then once it's dried, faceplate in, turn the bottom off, and you've got a bowl. There we go. Hope you've enjoyed that. Cameras went reasonably well. Mic was an issue, but that was only for one person who hadn't turned his hearing on today, Mr. Stratton. So we come back to intro. I'm back with you. Hope you've enjoyed your morning. We have messed around with these cameras and a bit of volume stuff, and we got there. A lot to think about, a lot of messing around last night. Hopefully
Duncan to do some whizzy stuff.
We'll get some more stuff done, and it will carry on. Terry's got a quiz tonight at 7:15. I've just seen it post come up. Terry at Chestnut Products. So I assume that's on the Conkers page. Terry, put that in there so they know. So there's a quiz tonight if anybody's interested. Thanks for stopping by all. Do me a huge favour, and if you've enjoyed your morning, don't forget LSS. Like, subscribe, and I can't remember what the other one was. Anyway, like and subscribe, LS will do. I thought of something earlier, it's stuck in my head, now it's gone. So, like and subscribe. If you want to know when videos are coming up, hit the bell as well. By hitting the bell, you'll be notified that I'm up to something, because I may pop up here and there in between times while I'm messing around with the camera. So thank you very much, Paul, that's very kind of you. So you can pop along, but like and subscribe, it all helps the channel. I hope you've enjoyed your morning.
Share. Is it S?
Ah, that's the other one. Share. That's it. LSS. Like, subscribe, share. That was it. I knew that little thing come into my head, but we one brain cell didn't hit the other brain cell, and boom. Thank you very much, Adrian. That's very kind of you. Thank you. All donations fully welcome. Thank you. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers, John. Thanks, Georgina. Glad you like the beading effect. You could do that all over the bowl or just round the rim or whatever. Cheers, Hans.
Steve.
Thanks, Bob.
Steve Vincent's watching.
Cheers, Trevor. Cheers, another Trevor. Thank you all. Nice to be back doing this. All gone a bit quiet. All quiet on the Western Front. So, if we've all done, everybody's happy. Woodturning, Ed, what was the spray you used? The spray that I used is a glitter effect Montana Gold, and this one is Cosmos, I think. Cosmos. It's a blue effect. They do various colours in it. So available from your favourite Oliver Woodturning supplier under the art department. Thanks Steve, thanks for stopping by. Cheers Wivey, glad you've enjoyed it. Thanks Martin, good to see you. Cheers Trevor, good to see you. Montana Glitter Effects, that's it, you got it. Thanks Brian. Wooden wood turning. Don't think so. He's quite good, isn't he? Stop the dust going down your neck. Thanks David. Thanks for stopping by. Cheers Nigel. Ah, Neil Watling, how you doing mate? We're going to become a wood turner, are you? He's an old school mate of mine. We've known each other over 50 years. He's not a wood turner, but he's obviously stopped by. Thanks Stuart. Thanks Cyril. Thanks for stopping by. Hope you've enjoyed your morning. Saturday morning, 10 o'clock has started. Right, people, without further ado, I am going to disappear. Terry, very good. You should have sent it over to me, I would have sold it. Cheers, Robert. Cheers, Steve. Thanks for coming. Thanks for stopping by, wasting a couple of hours of your Sunday morning. Don't forget, LSS, like, subscribe and share. Thank you very much. I'm going to away. I hope you've enjoyed yourselves. Look forward to seeing you on the other side. Adios and goodbye.